More than 100 vehicles are involved in a morning pileup, injuring dozens and killing at least 2. I'm Augustine Garfias, and we're live on scene to give you the latest on this morning's accident, including what just happened. Now, the eastbound lanes of Interstate 10 are now reopened after 8 hours of being closed.
I just heard somebody screaming, my kids, my kids. So I just ran to the nearest car and started yanking people out.
Why some victims of the wreckage put their fear aside to save lives. Well, as you can see, officials are still dealing with a massive car pileup of more than 100 vehicles on Interstate 10 at this hour. Good evening and welcome to 12 News HD. I'm Mary Sturgill. Jackie Simeon has the night off. Now, it happened just after 8 this morning on I-10 between Taylor Bayou and Hampshire Road. The Texas Department of Public Safety has not determined a cause for the massive pileup, but says there was heavy fog in the area this morning. Our cameras were first on scene, and you can see fog was still very dense around the accident. Both the east and westbound lanes were closed at one point, but the westbound lanes have been reopened since about 1 this afternoon. Authorities have been releasing information all day long as it becomes available. 12 News HD's Augustine Garfias joins us from the scene with the very latest. Augustine.
I'm on scene right now, and you can see what is about just left of the accident. They're cleaning up debris that fell out of an 18-wheeler that was involved in this morning's accident. We're told you're looking at broccoli right there. That is a food truck that dropped its load here just beside the interstate. As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, the eastbound lanes have reopened the traffic. They were closed, of course, when this accident happened around 8 o'clock this morning. They've been closed up until about 5 minutes ago, so that's about 8 hours of closure. Now, let's take you to some aerial footage of this accident that we had earlier today. Right now, the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office says about 150 vehicles were involved or maintained some sort of impact in this pileup. The Sheriff's Office confirmed that at least 2 people have died from this morning's accident. No names have been released at this time, but we have learned from DPS that it was a man and woman, both from Pearland, Texas, just outside of Houston. They say right around 120 people were injured in the accident. Acadian Ambulance has confirmed that at least 8 people were critically injured. Acadian says they had 22 units on scene at one point. There have been some complications during the cleanup process here on the interstate. Several 18-wheelers were involved in this accident. As you just saw, the loads they were carrying were scattered all over the place. Our crews counted almost 24 18-wheelers involved total in this accident. And as we mentioned at the top of this story, the eastbound lanes have been reopened. We were told originally it could be closed going into late tonight. Earlier around noon, we were told 8 to 10 hours of a closure. That would mean 3 to 5 hours. It should still be closed, but as you can see, the cleanup process has been quickened. It is now open to drivers. Earlier, TxDOT was advising drivers to take State Highway 73. That obviously has changed, so no more problems for drivers here as they wrap up this cleanup process here on Interstate 10. Be sure to stay with 12 News HD as we continue to bring you the latest in this morning's accident. For now, we're live in Jefferson County. Augustine Garfias, 12 News HD.
All right, thank you, guys. Obviously, people should still be careful out there. More than 80 people injured in this morning's wreck were taken to 5 area hospitals. 12 News HD's Adam Wright joins us in studio with more information on that. Adam?
After visiting the scene of the wreck this morning, I made calls to those 5 hospitals and visited 2 of them to find out what they were dealing with following this huge accident. And officials say more than 80 people were loaded into ambulances and taken to 2 hospitals in Beaumont, 2 in Port Arthur, and 1 in Baytown. We're hearing at least 8 people are in critical condition. 8 people were taken to Christus Hospital St. Elizabeth, 1 listed as critical. 19 were taken to Baptist Hospital in Beaumont. 2 of those were listed as critical, both of whom were scheduled to be transferred to hospitals in Houston. I was told one of those patients is a young child with a severe head injury. When I was at the scene earlier, I spoke with a young woman involved in the crash, and I listened to how she describes what she saw.
There was people with like parts that like a lady, I was covered in her blood, a piece of her head was missing. And I mean, I've never seen nothing like it. It's just something in movies. I mean, it was horrible. People crying, kids couldn't find their parents. I mean, it's tragic.
A mass casualty emergency bus from Houston also helped take 14 people with minor injuries to the Medical Center of Southeast Texas in Port Arthur. Christus Hospital St. Mary in Port Arthur told me all the patients they took in are in stable condition. 4 people were also taken to San Jacinto Methodist Hospital in Baytown, all with minor injuries. Reporting live in studio, Adam Wright, 12 News HD.
All right, thank you, Adam. Baptist Hospital in Beaumont also says a child with an injured pelvis, although not in critical condition, will be transferred to Memorial Hermann Children's Hospital in Houston as well. Well, Jefferson County Sheriff's deputies are calling the situation catastrophic. Heaps of twisted metal left drivers hurt and in a situation they never dreamed they would be in on their Thanksgiving morning. But some wrecks were worse than others. When a red 18-wheeler came flying through the air, crushing the cars in front of it, one man answered his call to action. On his way from Houston to Louisiana, Damien Francois pulled his family from his car, and then, without a second thought, he dove back into the wreckage and pulled at least 8 people out of crushed cars.
My initial reaction was, these are the people with kids who are trapped in these cars. So my youngest son jumped in another car, backed it up as far as he could. We just started ripping doors, busting windows, and grabbing people.
A truck driver trying to make his way from Laredo to Miami was caught in the same pileup. After driving a truck for 10 years, he knew he had to tell the other motorists around him to get out of their cars because he feared other trucks were carrying hazardous material.
I walked back, started yelling, "Get out of your cars." So when they all got out of their cars, I seen this truck coming, and this semi was up in the air higher than the back of my trailer. It's like he was jumping a ramp. He was in the air, airborne, taking these cars with him, and we all were just running away from the wreckage.
Wow. Because of the quick reaction and fearlessness of these men and undoubtedly many others, strangers help strangers actually survive today. Thought it was a horrific scene, and looking at the footage, you wonder how anyone was able to walk away from the wreckage. But there were people giving thanks on this holiday, thankful to be alive. One woman traveling from Houston to her Thanksgiving dinner in Louisiana was caught in one of the pileups, hearing brakes squealing all around her. She knew her inevitable fate. As Gracie Perez explained her traumatic experience, she said it was like a scene right out of a Hollywood movie.
I hit the driver in front of me. The vehicle behind me hit me, and I can truly say that I feel for every person that was injured today that is being delayed going to a nice Thanksgiving dinner with their family, and I am very blessed to still be alive. And it was horrible, absolutely horrible.
A horrible situation that turned this holiday upside down for hundreds of people, but for survivors, they're finding a lot to be thankful for. An overnight crash in Calcasieu Parish claims the lives of 2 men. Louisiana State Police say around 1:17 this morning, a 1996 Buick Roadmaster driven by 34-year-old Donald Ray Richardson of Orange slammed into a tree off Highway 109 near Gary Cutoff Road between Vinton and Starks. Richardson was pronounced dead at the scene. His backseat passenger, 40-year-old Gregory Joseph Wilson of Starks, died a short time later at the hospital. The front seat passenger, 29-year-old Benroy Anthony Ogle of Brewster,